With 2025 coming to an end and what people are hyping up to be one of the best years for film ever coming with 2026, I think we have a lot to look forward to. But what about looking back and reflecting on what 2025 gave to us? Because for as many bad products as we got some generational movies that in years to come we will continue to revisit over and over again. I thought this would be a better way to rank some of my favorite movies I saw last year while also giving insight to why this year wasn't all Snow White remake levels of bad. So today I'm going to list the ways how 2025 changed the film industry. Make sure to like, comment, hype, join my Discord server, and subscribe because new year, new goal, and that goal is to get to 50k subscribers by the end of the year. Let me be clear, when I say change the film industry, I don't mean there is a specific film in general that taught us something, but due to the highs and lows, we can learn from both. I figured we'd start with January and end in December, recapping the importance of 2 specific movies per month and their overall impact. After the highs of all the December madness, January at least gave us Dogman, which finally adapted the beloved books into a full-length movie, proving to dreamers that more of Dave Pilkey's books could be made into films, because 8 years ago the first Captain Underpants movie came out and a second one never released, so there's a chance Dogman could save this franchise. A new Spider-Man animated show came out called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and although it received some mixed reviews, it still was able to bring Spidey back to another animated show since Marvel's Spider-Man in 2020, and due to its success we could see more of it coming soon. Moving on to February, we got some interesting movies to say the least, but let's be honest, some of the most memorable ones were Captain America Brave New World, which is a pretty disliked movie, but at least it gave us a new Captain America and finally gave Anthony Mackie his own movie. We also got a third Paddington movie that, although I personally think it's the weakest one yet, it still proves to Hollywood that people will continue to support these movies. March gave us the best action movie of the year so far, aka The Electric State. This is a joke, by the way. It's a massive flop and a bad movie anyways that maybe actually might teach Netflix to maybe not dump so much money into their slop. But who could forget not only the worst movie of March, but one of the worst movies of the year, Snow White, which united so many people against it that it's basically a big embarrassment for Disney. March was a month of teaching because with 2 major flops under 2 major companies, it's sure to scare both of them into feeding us less garbage for the rest of our lives, being a good thing in the end. April gave us the Minecraft movie, which really broke the entire internet. It's a lesson that sometimes fun bad movies are actually okay from time to time, and started a massive uproar in memes that fully propelled this movie into being one of the most memorable and most successful movies of the year. But who could forget one of the best movies of not just this year, but of the decade so far? Sinners. Oh boy, was this movie big. Not only did it reach out to people outside of the horror spectrum, but it also is being nominated for Oscars with the possibility of being nominated for more once the full list comes out. April is by far the best month so far, but things start picking up even more with May, giving us the final Mission Impossible movie, and regardless of what you thought of it, that final fight scene is some of the greatest action ever put to film. But sadly, the movie underperformed, and we might not see something to this degree for a while. Earlier than that, though, we got the widely acclaimed Thunderbolts finally hitting theaters, and although also underperforming, gave new hope to the MCU as people called it the best movie since Endgame. May taught us the expense of letting good movies flop, because compared to March, not all movies that underperform are bad, and it calls out to us to go support these films while they're in theaters. June rode high off of May, and we got F1, which is a new film by the Top Gun Maverick guy Joseph Kosinski, who further pushed the way his films can be made. He did this by actually using real cars and races to get its footage, using new state-of-the-art technology to achieve fast-paced and realistic energy the movie needed. Sure, I could focus on the bad of this month, but we got easily the most recognizable movie in the entire world, K-Pop Demon Hunters. This has the Sinners effect in the sense that although nowhere near as good as that masterpiece, it has sparked a new hope in the film industry after the numerous flops I've discussed already, as an original IP that took off so hard that it will forever leave a cultural impact on the world. July was a hard one to choose 2 films from, but I feel I have 2 great examples. But bam, we got Superman, which somehow sparked controversy while also still being one of the most popular movies of the year. It teaches Hollywood that superhero fatigue doesn't really exist. Just like Thunderbolts, you just need to make a superhero story that deserves to be told, not needed to be told, and thankfully we seem to be spreading that message as seen by another film that will be released this month as well. But I'm not going to talk about that because who cares when we have easily the best movie of the year, War of the Worlds. In case that wasn't clear, that was a joke, just like the movie. This I felt was important enough to include because this movie is so bad that it united the world just like Snow White to expose how much of a corporate ad the movie is and has officially taught Hollywood and Amazon specifically a message that movies need to be movies, not ads. August released my favorite movie of the year. I'm not sure everyone will agree, but Weapons was awesome, and for me ranks above Sinners, but either of these movies, which happen to be both horror films, can take either spot and I'd be happy. Proving that horror needs to be taken more seriously when it comes to Hollywood, and although Weapons may not be nominated for anything, it sure was a huge success. Oh yeah, we also got Neja 2 releasing in the States. I didn't talk about it in January because what? It's not that big of a success. Oh my goodness! Squidward! Yeah, this movie teaches us that although foreign films can be scary to some people because, like Zoink Scoob, I have to have literacy to read the subtitles, man. Like Reggie. What am I doing? Let's just say the subtitles aren't too much of an issue when the movie is really good. September sadly gave us the final Rob Reiner film he worked on before his tragic murder, that being Spinal Tap 2. And although I haven't seen this movie, it proves that we need to appreciate what fantastic directors like Rob Reiner made for us to enjoy while they are still around to tell their stories. One Battle After Another was a pretty significant flop, but because of how much attention it's getting by the Academy, further proving underperformed movies don't equal bad. Starting off October, we got Good Boy, which is easily the most impressive horror movie of the year because it's a horror movie through the eyes of a dog, and the dog is easily the best actor of the year by far, proving that you don't need a huge budget or the most talented minds ever to put films to make a touching and great movie. Although I'd love to talk about Frankenstein and how good that movie is, we also got The Rock's best role yet in The Smashing Machine, which may or may not land him on the podium for Best Actor this year, proving just because a pony can do one trick doesn't mean that's all it knows. November gave us Wicked for Good, which although didn't flop, did not get all the attention the first movie had and banked too much on people coming back to theaters just by the title of Wicked alone, revealing the audiences need more reason to go to the theaters to check out the sequel, unlike Zootopia 2, where all it had to do was market itself as Zootopia 2 and people watched. This month really shows how useful marketing a movie well is extremely impactful to how good it is regardless of its actual quality. Finally, December gave us Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a movie made for the fans by the fans that appealed to barely anyone other than that. This movie proves in a way like a Minecraft movie did how dedicated fans are to their properties and how no matter how bafflingly good or bad an adaptation is, they will eat it up. And our last movie is Avatar: Fire and Ash, further showing us that the Avatar movies are kingpins in the setting, but due to this movie's lower box office than the previous two, we're starting to see glimpses that you might not be able to milk the same thing forever. But honestly, this movie is still making over $1 billion and somehow it's the lowest box office yet, but whatever. 2025 is a year of highs, such as Sinners being as grand of a movie as it was, delivering an original story filled with unique ideas and a great representation for more horror movies to be recognized like how it was. We also had lows like War of the Worlds that taught us a valuable lesson on what the difference is of a movie and an ad, and has woken up a lot of people to not wanting to shovel the same crap down their gullet as much as they already do. Let's look forward and be happy for 2026 and realize that there are going to be movies that surprise us like K-Pop Demon Hunters did. We're inevitably going to have more gems underperform, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't see them. And sure, we'll get some bad movies or underwhelming ones along the way, but there will forever be impressive films that go under the radar. But if you search and find them, well then you can be shaping the future of the film industry just by buying one ticket. If you want some recommendations of movies I didn't mention here from 2025, I'd recommend watching Companion or The Long Walk if you like well-written horror, Rental Family or The Life of Chuck if you like sweet but also tear-jerking dramas, Ballerina or Novocaine, which are two pretty awesome action films, and if you want to see my ranking of all 48 movies I saw this year, here you go, and I hope we can discuss your favorites in the comments below. With that said, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.